Warning! The following audio may contain coarse language and other material that may not be suitable for a younger audience. Viewer discretion is advised. Also, we may spoil anything and everything, so you have been warned. Okay, are we all mentally prepared for because you know it's Ava 3.0. It's going to be an intense session.
We are all recording. We're all
By
ready.
us, I mean you, Jimmy.
I'm getting my I'm getting the Evangelion wiki up so I can.
Oh, so you can use other people's opinions. I get it.
I'm just I'm getting the Evangelion wiki up just so I can remember all the fucking names because it's a lot of names to remember.
Ava 3.0 doesn't have that many characters in it.
It's got no characters, and it's only got 2 that
Okay,
matter.
yeah, let's save that for the actual podcast. So
don't tell me what to do, Jimmy.
Shut the fuck up,
Dude,
Holden. I'll tell you what to do at any
Jimmy,
point.
We're already recording, guys. We're already recording.
Jimmy,
What?
what's your favorite Monopoly piece?
The car.
I think it's the boot.
Hold it.
Oh,
Don't
man.
make me flaunt my power, Jimmy.
Hold it.
Oh, man.
We're in a goddamn J-Taku. Please no.
That
would be fucking hilarious.
This isn't.
that was poetry. That was poetry in motion, Holden.
Oh, this is going to be great.
Everyone recording?
Yes, we are ready.
Okay, let's hit it. Hello everyone, how's it going? We have a new episode of J-Taku here, and today we'll be launching the Evangelions into full mobile pursuit mode with the cast that I've got going on. I'm Holden from HoldenReviews, and with me today I have Garant from the Anime Zone.
Sup, guys? It's me again.
Jimmy from the JimiJJ, or Ninouh.
Hey everyone, what's up?
Jimmy, calm down. Kill la Kill is not bad.
Okay, yeah, what's up, guys? Yeah,
Sooin
okay.
from SICnanigan. Is it Anigans?
It's SICnanigans. Good job.
Shenanigans.
I was
Good
spelling it. I was spelling
Just
it.
SICnanigan Reviews, Holden.
Just
But
shenanigans.
yes,
Maybe one of these days we will be able to pronounce your review name correctly.
one of these days you will get me and Tristan's name correctly.
No, it's
No. You'll just start calling it Sicknanigan, singular.
singular. SICnanigan, or Glass Reflections. And finally, we have my main man, Alain from Bakashift.
That's me.
That is you. And today, as I said, we'll be discussing
OTP
the
for life.
theatrical film of Evangelion 3.33 or 3.0. You Cannot Redo, which was released almost a couple months ago, but we've only just recently viewed it. Garant and Alan, why don't you guys tell us how you guys most recently viewed it? So I think that's the most interesting story of all of ours.
Okay, well, so Alan phones me up one day and goes, "Do you want to go to this all-night anime marathon in some no-name cinema in Stratford?"
Stratford, not Stafford.
Not
You
Stafford.
guys went to Stratford. Oh my god, how are you
Jimmy,
still
shut-
alive?
Jimmy, why do you assume everywhere in London is full of people getting stabbed?
Jimmy,
That was just wherever you were, Jimmy, not everywhere in London.
Jimmy, just because you're a chav doesn't mean everyone else is a chav. Just.
let that soak in.
I think just members of the public naturally just don't like Jimmy. It's like, oh, he looks a bit rough. Let's kick him out of our shop.
And that's what happens.
Like me and God.
Konnichiwa, minasan.
To get back on topic, so me and Alan went to this all-night anime marathon, which included all of the Evangelion films, including 3.0. And so I was like, I really want to see Evangelion on the big screen, not realizing that 3.0 would start airing at about 5 o'clock in the morning. So regardless of whether I was in the right mindset to be viewing 3.0 for my first time, I still watched it. And yeah, that's how I watched 3.0 with Alan, basically.
It's all right, guys. He had a Red Bull before he started watching it, so he was ready. His mind was on board.
My body was ready. I'm not sure if my mind was because I was just buzzing off caffeine. But to get on back on topic,
It's all right. It's all right, Garan. It sounds great when we play together.
That's what she said.
That's what he said, definitely. So, guys, what did you think of 3.0?
I think that we should start with Sooin, actually. So, Sooin, what did you think of 3.0? You cannot redo.
When I first watched it, I will admit that I was unsure about it, because the movie took on an entirely different route. But upon rethinking, I began to love it so much, especially after the second time.
It was fucking amazing.
Exactly. It felt like watching End of Eva again, basically.
Yeah, I think
Which
it
was
was
amazing.
the first of the rebuild films that truly felt Eva-natured.
Yes.
Well, the second half of Eva.
I don't know. I still think it feels a lot more rebuild than original. It's still very, very more. It's much more in the style of the rebuilds than the originals for me. It's just put yourself in a situation where you kind of assume it's something
Like-
Which is
different.
interesting. So then, Alan, tell me what you thought of it, actually.
I've seen it 3 times, and the first time I watched it, I really, really wasn't too fond of it. But in each successive viewing of and then in the cinema, it was just amazing. But I kind of realised that it's a lot simpler than I originally thought it was. And so I now just kind of enjoy it in the same way I enjoyed the second one. It's just I just consider it a really, really good action.
It's so much simpler than people give it credit for.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the way it's structured, which is the Ava structure, which is just like Anna going, "Rah, information overload. I don't know, like symbolism."
And then it's the ground has a mouth.
I think kind of like the brilliance of it is it kind of tricks people into thinking it's more complicated than it is because you are kind of thrust into Shinji's mindset.
Yes.
You are, as Shinji is, after waking up after 14 years, you've got no fucking idea what's going on.
That's
So
what I
you don't-
love about it.
I was about to say, I think that is the strongest point of the film.
Yeah, that's the best part of it.
The best part of
Yeah.
the 3.0, in my opinion, was the fact that it's elapses 14 years since the second one, and it feels like 14 years to the viewer, or at least
And
to me.
it's such a bold and risky move.
It's so jarring of a
Yeah.
change,
Yeah.
and if you
And
feel
It's
like you're all
so
alone,
Evangelion. It's so Evangelion. You know?
which is why I think that I compare it most.
Which is why everyone hates it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Jimmy?
I noticed that there's one member here.
there's
Should
this-
we give Jimmy a turn to get angry so we can just shoot down everything he thinks about it?
No. We're not going to shoot down everything he says. We're just going to let him.
no, which I want to ask him, Jimmy. Like, what did you think, honestly?
Well, considering the fact that I wasn't too fond of the original Evangelion series,
Why don't you give everyone a quick description of what your experience with the original Eva series is?
I watched the original Eva series a long time ago, back when I was about 14, and it was a weird experience because it was the first anime I watched that wasn't necessarily geared towards my demographic. It really isn't geared towards any particular demographic, really. It's a work in and of itself. It's pretty postmodern, and it tries not to adhere to any kind of structure that had already been set in the time. And it does a lot of things really well. It's got very, very relatable characters, very deep plot and everything. The symbolism, as silly as it is, it's there. But like, it just never really clicked for me. It's a series that everybody apparently really likes, and I just never really liked Eva that way. Now, the rebuild movies, though.
Wait, how many times have you rewatched the original series?
Well, because I really didn't. Okay, I watched it the first time a really long time ago. Then to get a feel of what the film actually was, what am I saying? The series actually was, like, to understand it the way other people had been telling me I didn't understand it. I felt it was necessary to watch it a few more times. So like,
how many?
Just get to the point. How many times have you watched it?
How many times did you watch it, Jimmy?
Jimmy, just give us the number. Give us the number. Give
over
everyone the
the
number.
course over the course of 5 years, I've watched Evangelion a total of 7 times.
Every Eva is someone's first.
Absolutely brilliant. 7 times.
7 times for a show that you did not like.
And he still doesn't like it.
Am I correct in saying that?
Shocker.
I don't like Evangelion for a multitude of reasons. Mainly because I don't like the message it has. And as much as Anno keeps claiming there is no message, The message is that the world of anime that you love is full of bullshit that would really just suck if it was actually real. And I'm like,
I don't think that's the message, though. I think the message is very interpretive and personal to everyone who views it. I think Eva is a very interpretive piece.
Is that the message that you got, Jimmy?
Yeah, and basically that's the message that I got. And I didn't agree with it. And it kind of did leave me kind of unhappy. So it's like, I didn't really like the mindset that Anno wanted you to have. It wanted you to feel like if you have to accept that you suck. You have to accept that your world is shitty, that people don't, want you around. And once you accept how useless you are, maybe then you can fix everything. And it's like, no, that's not the mindset that's healthy for people. And it's like, I never really did enjoy watching it like that. And when the Rebuild movies came out, I really did love them. Like, I do love, and that actually makes me appreciate the original Evangelion even more, though. Like, the fact that it really does feel like a rebuild. It feels like he's rebuilding the idea of a boy coming to terms with who he really is. And now that we've already seen what happens when he decides to accept that he sucks, now we see what happens when he decides to take the world by the reins and change things because he wants to. And then 3.0 happened.
Well, 3.0, in my opinion, according to your logic, 3.0 is the repercussion that comes with making decisions for your own. This is what it's like this is what you get for making decisions.
This is what happens when you are selfish.
Yeah, and this is exactly what happens.
And
Shinji's being selfish. He wanted one person, so all of humanity must suffer for it.
Jimmy, I think what you don't like about Eva is that it's painfully realistic. Maybe that's why.
You're not the first person to tell me that, though. Like, I actually do understand. Maybe
it's because you want to escape from reality. Maybe that's why.
Do you generally have a problem with shows with a very negative tone, Jimmy?
Not really, because what's it called? I don't have a problem with negative tone because I like. It's. You about to say Death Note? Yeah, Death Note. Death Note has a negative.
That's not really comparable, I'm afraid.
It's not comparable because it's not the same level of negative tone. But
well, it's just a case of like the negativity in Ava is spawned from the mindset of Anno when he created it. Like he was in kind of the worst pits of his life when he made it, and that's why you can kind of get that's why the tone of Rebuild in the original is so drastically different.
I think that's the byproduct. The byproduct was End of Ava, yeah.
Yeah, let's think about it. Like, I know when he made the original Ava. I know when he made the original End of Ava. Like, it's like
there's still only one End of Ava, by the way.
No, I'm saying when he made the original Evangelion, he was like, "Oh, my mom just died. Everything sucks. I'm really unhappy."
He said it in this tone too, by the way, just so everyone knows.
When when he made the Rebuilds, he's like, "Shit, I got money. I've made one of the most controversial anime of all time."
Also said in this tone.
I honestly cannot imagine Anno walking in there and going, "Shit, I got money! I got money."
Anno's walking around and he's like, "I've been out here making this paper.
I'm wearing my bathing apes."
Yo, Ava World? This shit's happening, dog.
Yo.
I'm gonna pimp out Ava World too.
Think about it, but Anno's all like, "I got that cash. I'm a king."
What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't feel like Rebuild is his way of flaunting that he's been out here making this paper. I really don't.
What I'm trying to say is Rebuild is it takes a different approach because he doesn't have the same amount of negativity in his system anymore. And he probably never will.
It's very true. But something that I like to mention, Garant, to you guys especially.
Yep.
I think that's something really interesting about 3.0 was the expectations upon going in. The expectations were, of course, very high. But because, if you go back to episode 3.33, which conveniently named, was our Evangelion special on Podtaku, or even my reaction to a trailer of 3.0 back in the day. I think it's my oldest video on my channel right now.
Back in the day.
She's got an eye patch!
She's got an eye patch, yeah. And,
yes, the eye patch.
We had very high expectations for this film. And what's interesting is that I don't think that they were met in the way that we expected.
No, but at the same time, do you know what?
They were, yeah.
I felt so fulfilled with what I saw because
exactly
the thing that I loved about 2.0 was it tricked everyone.
Yes, it does.
It tricked everyone. And one of the biggest things,
Yeah.
as amazing as I thought 2.0 was when I first saw it, I remember
Yes.
thinking, what the fuck are they going to do next? How are they going to have two movies worth of material? Because Shinji's now a badass. He's saving the world. And okay, we can still have more angels, but character-wise, where can they go from here? And then 3.0 happened.
Yeah, precisely.
They literally dick slap you back into remembering that Shinji's a bitch.
No, he's not.
No,
He's
they're
not a
not.
bitch.
He's
No.
not, though.
Shinji has
That's
not
the
changed.
beauty of Ava, though, Jimmy.
He does not act like a bitch in 3.0 at all, in my opinion.
He takes action, but it kind of affects everyone.
It's blind fury. I think it's what it is. It's blind, is what it is.
Actually, I agree with you. Maybe that's not the best way to say it. No. He's not a bitch, but he's trying to be proactive. But then it's like a brick wall is being pushed down on him.
But
like
he
the world
doesn't give
itself.
up once. That's what I think is so admirable about 3.0, is that not once does Shinji actually give up. In fact, he does the exact opposite, to the point where people are telling him, like Kaoru is like, dude, do not take the lances out of this thing. And what does he do? He's like,
Don't fucking do it, man.
I'm taking the lances out of this thing because I'm mad.
Bro.
There's certain points, like very early on in 3.0, that you can kind of or just be very clear that Shinji hasn't changed from the second film. I mean, the clearest thing is as soon as he wakes up, he's like, hey, let me back in the Ava,
Let
yo.
me back in the Ava. Yeah, like
And she's like, no. And he's like, what?
I love that. That it was my favorite part of the film.
It's reverse psychology.
Yeah.
It's like, Shinji, you can't pilot the Ava. Let me back in the Ava. No, Shinji, you can't pilot it. And it's the complete opposite.
But my biggest
fucking
problem...
robot, Shinji.
My biggest problem with 3.0 is basically every character other than Kaoru and Shinji.
Yeah.
No,
I felt
no.
their relationship and everything between them was incredible. But beyond that, I just really had major problems with some of the other characters.
What about Mari, though? Mari left a big impression on 2.0, but now she's just...
Mari's a cipher. She's not a character. She's just...
Yeah, like she's just
I
there
think
now.
Mari, the only way that Mari is going to actually be legitimized is if, in 4.0, they make the whole "this is a sequel" thing a plot point, and she is actually the whole child of Asuka and Shinji.
Yeah.
That is the only way that Mari can actually fit into this story.
Mari's
Really
really
Actually, now that
interesting.
I've seen 3.0, I kind of agree with that.
Do you want to explain your theory behind that? Because
one of the most popular theories about the rebuilds is that it was the sequel to End of Ava, and a lot of people had some jarring thoughts about it, but now it seems more evident, especially with 3.0 and the entire events that happened.
Yeah, and a certain member of this podcast may or may not have an entire folder dedicated to proving this.
Yeah,
this.
working on that still to this day, actually. It's a very touchy subject.
There's way too much pointing in that direction for it not to be at this point.
I
Even
think-
if it doesn't actually be made into a legitimate plot point eventually, it's definitely intended
Especially
that way,
with
I believe.
the end of the Evangelion manga, I feel like.
Yeah,
Especially
the
with
manga...
the manga goes far beyond the film, and I love what the manga does, actually.
The manga's the only happy ending in Ava history.
Yes, it is. I think the end of Ava, the manga, which is volume 14, chapter 96, I think, had such a happy ending, which is so unprecedented for anything except for like retake.
retake.
What worst? No. Hey, Holden, don't you mean worst girl wins?
Yeah. No, what are you talking about? Asuka's the
Worst...
best.
Asuka's worst girl.
Shut the fuck up, Jimmy. Just get out now. Get out now,
Yeah,
Jimmy.
as I say,
Jimmy?
you're talking to the guy who named his computer Asuka, but like,
Misato is best girl.
really,
What?
that's some.
What did everyone think about Masato in this film?
I
Things
loved her.
generally.
I loved her. I won't lie. She was brilliant.
She was lame, but I think everyone was
I-
lame almost, besides Kaoru and Shinji.
Honestly, I couldn't stand Masato in the film.
Yeah.
In comparison to herself, I think it's not that I couldn't stand her. It's that I think she is the character that suffered the worst from the time skip.
Yes.
Because there is that 14 years where you know that Masato has changed drastically, and I feel without that 14 years, how she's ended up in this film, I couldn't click with it at
But-
all. Especially
I
in
actually-
like some of the things she did as soon as Shinji.
Alan,
woke
that's
up.
the beauty of 3.0, because you do not know what's happened in that 14 years,
And you can
I
guess.
assume
No.
that they will tell us what happens in 4.0, because like the preview in 2.0.
What the hell? What is the Wunderbar? What did they like?
Like how the
Wunder!
When-
Hashin!
Oh, speaking of Wonder Bar, what about that name?
When did Aladdin get a hold? When did Aladdin get a hold of the entire UN fleet? Like, I don't
Exactly,
understand what's
But
happening.
Didn't anyone else just have major problems with how Masato and everyone else on the Wunder was reacting, how acting to Shinji as they woke up, and how they were surprised when he buggered off? they were acting so horribly to him, and so of course he's going to bugger off.
Do you know why? Do you know why? I think they all expected Shinji to behave. Okay, how can I put this? This is the part where I feel the whole sequel thing is like an important part to think about, because they're all treating Shinji the way he would have been treated in the original Eva.
I don't know. But I think what's interesting is actually that it's not like that. I think what really happens is that it feels like Shinji is taking control of his body for the first time in 14 years,
Yes.
but someone else has been controlling his body for 14 years. So I think a really important question is, of course, at the end of 2.0, you get the trailer that had everything that didn't happen in the show, that didn't happen in 3.0 at all. And
like what? I didn't see the trailer.
Like whenever you had Gendo and Futsuki climbing with their asses on the mountain, and they're like hiking.
You actually had, like,
And
was it Unit 6?
Kaji with the gun.
And Mari taking off her glasses on all the Ray clones.
You know,
And there was
that stuff could easily
Yeah, and
may have
Unit
happened.
6 going down.
And Central Dogma.
Because Unit 6 is in Central Dogma in
No,
3.0.
speaking of the trailer,
so-
what the fuck happened to Kaji?
He's actually mentioned once.
I assume, I assume that he's actually dead. Because one thing, what reason would Misato have to hate Shinji, apart from maybe the fact that Kaji is dead because of his actions? Would that not make
very true.
sense? You know, because he was not in 3.0.
They mentioned Kaji once, but I don't really remember it. But yeah, one crew member mentions it absolutely once. He's only mentioned it once.
So Garan, here's a question. How would you feel about 4.0, or just this whole thing in general, if that 14-year time skip is never brought up again? If
Yes.
what happens during that time is never brought up again, how would that make you feel about the series?
That would be a very Eva thing to
But
do.
that goes back to the problem with 3.0. The biggest problem with 3.0 is that it entirely relies on 4.0. 3.0 didn't feel like a movie. It felt like an episode, right?
It was
Exactly.
a transitional piece, is what it was.
And that's what 3.0 was supposed to be.
It's a transition to 4.0. But what I love about
Really?
3.0 is that it's the only Eva film that left me wanting more. Like, I easily wanted another half hour or more.
Eva 2.0 didn't make you want more?
No, Eva 2.0 did not make me want more, because
Really?
as soon as the spear went through his chest, I was fine. I knew God mode was over, and I knew Shinji was trapped.
No, after 2.0, I was so hungry. I needed
After
the
2.0, I was
continuation.
like, holy shit, I want to see the next one. Like, I think that's the thing.
I
got
wanted
my
to see
hopes
the
really-
next one, but I didn't want to see if more was happening, to be honest. I don't think what was happening was going to be was possible to top what was going on. I think it peaked at the perfect point in 2.0. I think if 2.0 went on, it'd be, Unit 6 is entering Central Dogma.
Oh, okay. So wait. You mean you in terms of wanting the movie to be longer?
Yeah.
Not in terms of waiting
yeah.
for the next film.
Yeah,
okay,
that's what I
no,
mean.
I'm with you on that then. 2.0 is very complete, and you're saying that 3.0 you would like to have been
3.0 is the only one that I want more of. Like, the film I would have been longer.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's the only one.
But here's the big problem I found with 3.0. Like, everything hinged on, like, the entire plot point could have changed if the characters would just tell exactly what happened in those 14 years. Like, oh, Shinji, this happened. Like, if they just told him that, then the entire movie wouldn't have happened in the first place. And that was the part that bothered me the most.
In the movie's favor, it did that on purpose, because, like, I think everyone was too butthurt about Shinji to even try explaining shit. They were like, no, think
The
about it.
technical term.
There were two.
Such great use of vocabulary.
Sooin,
Yeah.
to go back to Jimmy's, to word it a bit better than how Jimmy words shit. The problem is, like, imagine if you had it's been 14 years, okay? Because they seem to feel pure hatreds towards Shinji. So it's like they didn't have the time to explain, because Ray came in straight away and rescued him, right?
It's true. I mean, they weren't on the ship for more than, like, 20 minutes.
They did have an opportunity.
No, the fact that what bothered me the most was that, like, you could have just told him something at least. Like, just by not telling him a single thing on what has happened, that did kind of bother me.
I think with
Yeah,
the,
I think because
that
that
was-
kind of made the plot shaky as a whole.
I think that's true, but I think
that was what
the
I
reason
think,
they did that was they're treating him like he's a weapon now. That's why they put the leash on him, the collar and everything. Like, he's literally, in their mind, nothing more than an unstable weapon.
But Holden, if we're going it like that, if they assume he's a weapon, wouldn't they want to kind of approach him with more caution?
Because he's unstable. That's why they keep him in the dark.
How they approach him at the start of the film, they don't tell him anything, and then they're surprised when he leaves.
They know he's.
I think that is really sketchy.
They know he's powerless now, though. They know he's They know he has zero synchro with Ava Unit 1.
They don't know because of that whole he activated for 12 seconds thing. They're obviously still terrified of what he can do.
Yeah, that's why they keep him in a safe room. So it's like to make sure nothing should.
But
but
through that,
Actually, speaking of the safe room, what about the Curse of the Ava? What did you guys think of that?
Oh, that's just a big Deus Ex Machina that needed to be there.
yeah, it just kind of was there.
That kind of had to be there. I didn't think it was a particularly.
Doesn't it feel like it's a cheesy way of trying to sell more merchandise?
No, I don't. I think it was very necessary because we can't. This 14-year time skip is what made this film, and that needed to be there in order for the film to work.
That's
the
true.
fact that is just an pull out of your ass plot point may not be the best writing in the world, but it needed to happen.
I think it needed to happen.
Well, there's also the fact that if Asuka had that 14-year time skip, for instance, like all of her features would have changed. And
no, but see, the argument is that
LCL.
LCL.
That was LCL.
LCL is.
Oh man, she would have had a beard and everything.
LCL is the fountain of youth, is the argument.
Oh, by the way, can I just ask? This is a really weird nitpick, but still. If he was in a safe room, how the fuck would Asuka be able to crack the glass?
Well, it's to personify that she's fucking pissed.
Because she's Asuka,
Yeah.
okay? She's got German rage.
It looked like fucking bullet.
Because she's motherfucking Asuka, Jimmy. Just don't question Asuka.
The most important part of Shinji being on the Wunderbar, and especially in the safe room and everything, is that his biggest fears were coming were just merging. They're all coming to life, which is that he's not needed. He was needed whenever he was needed to pilot the Eva, and that was his dream. But his biggest fears were coming true whenever they were like, "We don't need you anymore." And I think that's the reason he was so open-minded into just leaving everything. And whenever Rei came to just take him,
I loved Shinji's character in 3.0. Like, I loved his character because
absolutely. Shinji was the star.
Shinji was my father's star.
Yeah, he was. I mean, everything that he went through. I mean, I think
even when even after I watched it the first time and had many problems with it, literally went out of the film and decided I didn't like it, I had no problems with Shinji whatsoever. I thought everything to do with Shinji and his interaction with Kaoru, I thought were masterfully
I think
done.
Kaoru himself was also amazingly done. I think
absolutely.
the pivotal scene whenever Kaoru takes control of the Eva and uses the lances upon Unit 1, or Unit 13 rather, whenever he's giving the dialogue about finding his own way and everything, and he finally just does that to himself, when that happens, and the collar and everything, it's such an awe-inspiring moment that you just kind of sit at there. And all of my hairs were just at their complete ends, just as he did this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't actually think
felt so surreal.
I didn't think his execution scene it didn't have any impact on me, really.
Oh, it's fantastic.
In comparison to the scene where he dies in the series.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that I'll agree with.
The silence, right? Silence.
It was very. The thing about the rebuild movies, they feel like Hollywood action flicks.
I don't feel like that at all. I think 2.0
no.
does.
3.0 did not feel like a Hollywood action flick.
No, like 1.0 and 2.0 felt like action movies. Then 3.0 happened.
On a superficial level, it feels like a action flick, mainly because everything.
Jimmy, I'd agree with you there, honestly.
Yeah. Because, like, the way looking really deep into how everything moves, like, the way the Avas moved in the original, they were lumbering 80, like, keep in mind.
There's a huge argument for this, because I would like to point out that, being the animation specialist I am, I'd like to point out the key animators are different entirely. CG has evolved entirely. It's not practical to do Sekuga, because Sekuga is dead. And the whole idea of just, the Avas are not supposed to be lumbering tanks anymore. I'd like to point out in the second film, the Avas caused the extinction of mankind. That does not sound like a robot that should be lumbering around running on AA batteries. That sounds like a unit.
Holden. Not to try and jump into the defense of the original Avas or anything, but remember, the Evangelions are 80 feet tall.
But they're not.
That's literally 10 Gundams.
But they're also
10 Gundams.
They're also gods, you must realize.
They're descendants of the first angel.
Yeah, but Holden, it's not their physical strength that is what ended the world. Like it's not like in terms of the action in the original series where you see Ava 02 lumbering around and moving its massive stabby thing at the speed of nothing in comparison to 3.0 where they're running along.
Yeah,
like
they move like Power Rangers. They move like freaking like tokusatsu heroes. They run around.
In terms
Jimmy,
of that,
you also forget that there was also a 14-year time skip to modernize everything.
I was about to say yes, because they don't even have
They move like this in Ava 2.0.
They don't even have umbilical cables anymore.
They move like this in Ava 2.0 as well.
Jimmy, like,
well, you can still feel the weight in 2.0. Like,
yes,
okay,
I would say you definitely could.
Remember
the scene where Unit 2 is running through the city?
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
When he was running...
You could feel the weight whenever the feet are hitting the ground and it's just smashing the earth below it. You can feel all the weight of the Ava in that scene.
Yeah.
And I think the big difference is in 3.0, the reason they move so liquid-like is because they've not only technologically advanced, because, well, we've got a flying fleet, first off, and I think that they've developed the Avas more in tune
you can tell in their designs because they've all got like much chunkier legs now and everything.
Yes,
like
they
that.
do.
Like the actual all of the Avas in 3.0 have a very different design. They're nowhere near as like sleek and lanky as they used to be.
No, they aren't.
They are
muscular.
Much larger.
Yo, Gun. You know the most pointless but cool moment of the movie, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
We are gonna get to the piano scene. We are gonna get. Don't worry, Jimmy. We're gonna get to the piano.
No, not the piano scene.
Okay.
Not the piano scene.
What?
It's further than that. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
adolescence upon an incline.
what I'm talking about is the most pointless but awesome scene was when Asuka was turning lion mode.
Is it a lion or a cat?
Like I don't.
It was a cat.
It
That
was-
was hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty much a Neko. I know it is an
pointless.
obsession for Nekos.
That was just literally them in a boardroom going, so everyone liked Beast Mode. What do we do now? Let's give it a fucking tail. Let's give it a tail.
Let's
And
give
It was
some big
fantastic.
teeth.
I loved it.
It was the most pointless but awesome scene in the film. Next to the piano scene, obviously.
The piano
but, you know,
was not.
Oh man, the piano scene with those metaphors with the horses.
By the way, if I could learn to play piano as fast as Shinji does, I mean, fucking, I'd be a brilliant bastard. Like,
Well, he is God.
like- yeah.
Wait,
So
actually, now that I think about it, did Shinji play the cello in the rebuilds?
Who knows? You know, I wasn't attending his lessons recently. I got no idea.
All we know, Shinji doesn't need to learn to play the cello. He sits down next to Kaoru, and he learns to play the instrument via osmosis.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's just it's a sucking symbiotic relationship.
It's just
Like, the
like-
more
like-
he knows, the more I know.
Like Kaoru's got this miasma, and it's just like, oh, I can play the piano now. Oh, brilliant. I wish I could do that. You know, that'd be brilliant.
I wish I could do that too. Like, I wouldn't need my piano teacher would just have to sit down and I'll be able to play.
I think an interesting question, though, actually, that I want to ask you guys now is how the comparison between Kaoru and the rebuild and Kaoru in the actual series.
billion times better.
Do you guys think he's
Billion
better
It
or
is.
worse?
It's
He's
better.
much
Better. Like his relationship.
I'm a little bit conflicted.
Sooin, there's no room for confliction. Yes or no?
Sooin,
Better or worse?
This is like we're
Yeah.
not going to build you another fence, Sooin.
Shout out to Tom Sawyer.
Shut up. Okay,
not
but
again.
no,
The shout out thing's dead. Same as everything is someone's first is dead.
Get the fuck out, Jimmy.
It's
every
not,
shout
Jimmy.
out is someone's first.
Jimmy, shut up. I'm editing all of this out.
Every shout out is.
I'm editing all of this. None of this will see the light of day.
Every single one of Jimmy's rebuttals is someone.
So, Garen, wait. You think he's better, and
reboot,
I agree.
yes.
But why do you think he is?
Because his relationship with Shinji was built up so much better in the rebuilds. Like the piano scene, while subtle, like because like with the piano scene, it wasn't anything obvious, but the way it was done, you felt the connection that the two had with each other a lot better in the original, when it was more like, oh, I kind of want to bone you, kind of. Yeah, that's all I remember from the original.
I remember human instrumentality. I remember when we got we got one of the first trailers of 3.0, and it was a rainbow piano, and I remember all of us thinking, oh my god, what the fuck is happening?
When was the last time everyone watched the original?
I don't know.
My last
Maybe.
rewatch was.
Don't know.
My last rewatch was July, and it ended. I finished it on July the 22nd. Yeah.
How the fuck do you know this? Just like Jim. It's my yearly watch of Evangelion because I don't like it yet, so I might as well rewatch it again to see if I'm gonna like it.
God.
this
Jimmy,
time.
what day did you watch Evangelion the 5th time?
Oh, actually,
The fifth time was 2000. I know it was 2011.
Do you run on some kind of weird Ava batteries that need to be refueled by watching Ava, or you'll just like crumble up into dust?
No. I know it was in 2011 because I was still in 11th grade.
And you're like, fifth time's the charm. I think
I
that's
watched
very
it after I finished exam, so it must have been around May. So yeah.
What about your third time?
Third time.
Okay, this is stupid. So
This is we're not doing this.
No, I don't think I remember that. Like,
But
no, we're not doing this. Something I'd like to ask all of you. You go first, though, Gar, because I think mine's too definitive to ask right now. What was your question, though, Gar?
I completely forgot.
Okay. Well, then let me ask
yours
mine.
first.
Let me ask
Yes.
mine then, really quick. Okay, so with the ending of 3.0 being the reuniting of the original team of Unit 0, Unit 1, and the Unit 2 pilots, all the first, second, third child, first child, and fifth child, with all the children brought back together, right, with Asuka, Rei, and Shinji. With that ending, what was your immediate feelings? Because I know Alan was quite angry, but with that whole thing, with everything going almost full circle is what I felt like. I felt like it was, when they're just walking across the sea of red sand is what it looked like. It was beautiful.
That was such a beautiful scene, especially with the ending song.
Honestly, in my opinion, I don't think that's going to be how the next
won't
one
be,
starts at all.
but-
No, I don't think it will, but I think it was a perfect way to end it.
I don't even think that's going to have anything to do with it. The ending was
It's
quite
like
good. I think that the most important part of the ending for me was Fake Ray holding the tape player,
Yeah.
which I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty clear and kind of suggested that that's got real Ray's consciousness in it.
yeah.
So like Fake Ray's going to turn into real Ray.
Like, it could have been suppressed.
my immediate thought when I saw that scene was, what the fuck happens next?
It
Like,
was
In
so
a good
cool.
way.
What do you mean?
Like,
yeah.
in both, the first thought was in a really bad way, like, so you're just gonna end it right here. You're really just gonna end it right here. What's wrong with you? But then I thought about it, like, again, and I was like, that's actually pretty good. I actually want to see what happens. It's pretty interesting.
That's the thing. It's the perfect in terms of a setup movie. It's a perfect setup movie. At the same time, it's a problem because it entirely relies on 4.0.
It all hinges on.
But
what
at the
4.0
same
is gonna
time,
be like.
if 4.0 is amazing,
And it's so interesting.
and we look back at 3.0, it's going to be an amazing movie as well.
Yeah, I think that it's meant to be viewed in quick succession is what it feels like almost. But I think the second that you see it, when you see them all walking across the red sand and you just hear Utada Hikaru playing, it's just something magical is really about it.
Yeah,
And
it was quite a powerful closing scene.
Yeah,
Definitely. Especially with the. I think the scene between Asuka and Shinji at the end is the only scene, only Asuka's involvement in that movie that I actually was all about, because I didn't think Asuka's character was utilized very well in that film at all.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, it's kind of interesting because in End of Eva, Shinji was the one who was moving around per se.
yeah, he was the one dragging Asuka around.
Exactly.
Which is why I think it's such a cool reference, because now they're on the red sands.
Here's also something more interesting. Like, Asuka referred to people as Lilin, and the only person to say that was Kaoru.
Yes.
I love that, yeah.
Yes.
The Lilin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really cool
So
reference.
it does leave another root of mystery.
And I don't know if it was the same for the subs you watched, but Asuka used the word brat a lot.
Yes,
That's
there was
fine. I mean-
idiot Shinji
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
brat Shinji. It was like there was two separate
Yeah.
Shinjis going on, which I think ties back
Like-
into the fact that they all think that Shinji is someone different. Because remember right at the beginning that they had to
Yes.
confirm that this was Shinji Ikari, or the Shinji Ikari that they knew.
And,
Yeah.
Which is funny.
I think when she says brat, I think brat means because he's more abrasive and more, I'm not taking your shit anymore. Like, I think that's why she's calling him a brat.
I think that's just a translation is what it is. I think it's the same thing in the translator's mind. I think that they just speak English and Japanese. But I think what Garrett was saying was actually interesting because it brings up the idea of episodes 25 and 26, whenever they have, this is Shinji and this is the way you view me. And they have the interviews with everyone and the Shinji that is perceived from that person. Which is interesting because there were all such different perceptions of who he is for all the same person. That said, I think what is really going to be interesting is whenever they brought out all those, the trailer for 4.0, and it was just like Ava 5/2.0 thing fighting all of the mass-produced
It was like
Evas.
Lego. It was just like they just stitched them together.
I was thinking, what is going on? I don't even get it. And it's gonna be interesting where they say. I can't really make any predictions at all anymore especially after how incorrect a lot of my ones for 3.0 were. So I think what's going to be most interesting is seeing where 4.0 goes. Cause it's it's
like
I'm anticipating it, but I'm not as a hyper excited. That's the thing. I think I was hyper excited.
Wait, will those scenes be actually in 4.0?
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
What are we saying, Alan?
No.
Now?
Do you think, any of you, that...
what was the question?
I was about to ask it. do you think the whole it being a sequel thing is going to be made into a legitimate plot point, or is it going to remain as subtext?
I think it's going to remain a subtext.
I think so too.
I think that's just how he does it.
I think Anno knows what the audience is thinking, and I think he wouldn't have done this. He wouldn't have done this if he didn't think that we would be thinking it, if that makes any sense. Or what I'm trying to say is he loves to turn it.
He's aware.
He loves to turn expectations on their head, as we saw with 3.0.
Yes.
I don't think the fact that it's a sequel will be outright said. It'll be subtext. It won't be outright said.
I think it would be better if it isn't. I think I like how subtle it is.
I don't mean if being outright said, but do you think it's going to become more of a plot point? Because at the moment, they could make it a plot point without having it outright said, but currently it's there.
I don't think it's going to be a plot point. I think that they're going to resolve the problems they have now, because they have quite a bit of problems going on right now. Especially judging from all of the infinite mechs, all the infinite Evas that Unit 2/8 was fighting in the trailer. But if trailers are any indication to what the actual film is, we know not to trust them at all. Especially when more fan service was not promised at all.
They kind of have to bring in the mass production thing at some stage.
I think they do,
because that in terms of like that is the most kind of like mega crazy action part of the original Eva series.
Yeah,
and just that is absolutely the kind of thing that the Rebuild is going for.
Yeah.
So I think that is going to be one of the biggest action scenes.
Oh yeah,
in the next
definitely.
Anime film. It's gonna be nuts.
I think it definitely will be.
I mean,
with how old I was when I watched the original, that is by far the most memorable part of the original for me. That sequence in End of Eva.
Yeah, when 2.0 is fighting the mass-produced Evas.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was insane.
It's one of the biggest. It's one of the biggest scenes, and I'll agree with you. It's one of the most recognizable scenes in animation history. Like,
I was about to say it's not just Eva, just in general anime. That's an iconic scene.
Yeah,
iconic scenes in anime. Spoilers. Dying.
Jimmy, shut the
spoilers.
fuck up.
shut up.
Get the fuck
Jimmy,
out, Jimmy.
What?
Don't worry, I'll edit this guy. But
Oh, Jimmy.
no,
like,
Jimmy,
probably
just shut up.
Probably the end of Bebop as well.
I'm getting rid of all this, by the way.
Jimmy, do not
What?
talk
I'm not
about Bebop, please.
What?
I think what's interesting though is, despite in the fact that it is such a pivotal and memorable thing, I mean, it made the mass-produced Eva so recognizable, even though they're only shown for like one film, and not even the whole film, which is even weirder.
I think what made that scene so important is it made what were essentially kind of like mindless drones into such a powerful kind of being, like some kind of really powerful figure, especially what happens with them later in the film.
Yes.
Yes.
I think so.
They were incredible. They were.
It was the first
were
time
angels.
the Evas were pitted against man-made war machines, such as like the battleships and all the missiles and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was the first one to show like that they can just stomp on tanks. And before that, there was no context. There was like buildings, but we had no idea how big these buildings were. Tokyo 3, I don't have a map of that recently, or
Like,
It showed how powerful
Like
the
Holden.
Avas really were, because like the Avas always struggled against the Angels. So you're thinking, oh, maybe they're
Yes.
underpowered,
Yeah.
but no, the Angels. I mean, the Avas were very, very powerful, but you didn't realize that until you had some kind of measure, because when they were going up against actual human technology, they got. They fucking dominated.
they were so OP. Yeah. They were so OP.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Gundam effect, where like you see them killing a bunch of Zakus, but then when a Gundam fights a Gundam, it feels like it's not that strong, but like it's an extremely
it's evenly
powerful.
matched, is what it is.
Yeah,
And
I am interested to see what they just do with if they do kind of a direct kind of reference to that scene in terms of how it affects Asuka's character. If it's still going to be Asuka do it fighting them, because I just kind of felt that whole scene in End of Eva, that was kind of the exclamation mark on the end of Asuka's character. Like she was an incredibly deep and powerful character in the original, and that was kind of the culmination.
Well, it might just be dual piloting. It might just be dual piloting because like, you know, they introduced dual piloting in this one.
It's Unit 2 and 8
so
together.
It might be a good way to flesh out
Asuka
Asuka's and Mari's.
Much to their distaste.
But Alan, in reference to the power of that scene, one thing I didn't like about the original series was how much they hyped up Asuka as like this ace pilot, but it didn't. Even though she had a few moments in the TV series, they didn't really show it that much. I didn't believe she was like some extremely awesome ace pilot until the final scene, until her like final scenes in like End, like when she actually fought them off. I was like,
well, that's because Asuka was much more human in the original in comparison to her rebuild depiction.
Well, I mean, she has had a total of 30 minutes of screen time across all the rebuilds. She had 20 minutes in 2.0 and about 10 in 3.0.
Well, and just so far in the rebuild, she's only had one scene where she's doing anything more than kind of like going crazy in robots. Like the only scene that's kind of in reference to her past and everything is that one scene where she's in her knickers with her little puppet.
Yeah.
In the second film.
Exactly, yeah. And she's talking about...
Beyond that, she is just like hot-headed.
No. I would also say the conversation she had with Misato before she went to pilot Unit 3.
Got into Unit 3.
Oh, yeah. That was that.
In the elevator. Yeah. When she was in her knickers.
And there was also the aquarium scene.
Yes, I think the aquarium was more pivotal towards Rei, because it was the idea that she was not a fish in a tank.
Like everyone was involved.
Yes, everyone was very involved in it. It's one of my favorite scenes.
I think the rebuilds are just more centered towards Rei than Asuka more than anything, especially with everything else that's going on.
Well, especially with Rei actually having emotions this time.
Yeah.
Which were all scrapped, which I like.
Rebuild is definitely shipping.
Ava Bridge Ray's better.
Also,
I love my...
Yui action.
Yeah, you're right. Cinder Ray is pretty good. Cinder Ray is pretty good.
My Ava Bridge Cinder
That's
Ray.
a terrible.
Actually, speaking of Rei, did anyone notice the Yui had a name change in the rebuilds? Like, she's no longer Yui Ikari, but her maiden name was Yui Ayanami.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because
that's actually pretty weird.
Everyone's changing their names, though. I mean, I think Asuka's name was Shikinami now, not Langley.
No. Here's the interesting thing about Yui, though. Like, when Gendo and Yui got married, Gendo was the one who changed his name.
He changed the name from Rokubungi.
Yeah, Gendo was the one who changed the name, and in the rebuilds, Yui was the one who changed her name.
That's weird, because like the reason he changed his name, aside from the other, like the canonized reasons, like that was one of the things to cement Gendo's love for Yui, like to show
it was a memorial, is what it was.
Yeah. Like it was one of the things it was one of the things on his character to be like he truly loves this woman. Removing that. Not saying Gendo loves Yui any less. I mean, he's doing
still
all
trying
this
to cause third impact.
He's still trying to do all this, but like it does kind of, it kind of does cheapen the effect to try and just like show.
Because I think the actual themes of the rebuilds are slightly different from the themes of the original. Because in the original,
definitely,
it was all about AT fields and like instrumentality. But in 3.0, I got the feeling that it was more leaning towards like evolution and ascension. Like, did anyone get some of that subtext going on in that film?
Yeah, I felt that it was more about ascension.
Yeah, like Ritsuko's monologue at the end of 2.0 kind of did cap that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What she says about he's something about him giving into his desires to make a new world. Some stuff.
Okay,
like
well,
that.
I think we should wrap it up soon. But I got one more question for you guys, and then we'll wrap it up after that. Okay. So from each of you guys, what do you want / expect from 4.0? Let's start with Holden. Holden, you go first.
I expect nothing less than the grand finale that we expect from Ava. I think that no matter what we expect, we won't be able to fully predict it, but what I'm thinking is that we will get an ending that is very serving and fitting to the series that we've been given thus far, especially with the rebuilds. And I think that regardless of what happens, I'll look positively on towards this series upon retrospect, but I am looking forward to it, but not nearly as much as 3.0. Because 2.0 ended with such a hyper ending and thus I was hyper when it ended, so I was hyper waiting for 3.0, whereas because of the almost melancholic ending that 3.0 had, I want it, but I am very content at the moment, just like I think the ending was very content at 3.0.
Alan?
I honestly, because of how everything's been thrown up now, all I really expect and want out of the last film is for it to have impact and is for me to see satisfied after it. Because I really don't know what's going to go down. I feel like in order for it to be what I want it to be, I'm not sure how it's going to be able to be that way without it being like 3-4 hours long or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know, in a way. But all I want it from it is for it to have impact and for me to be satisfied after I've watched it.
Sooin?
I want an ending that basically puts an end to the Evangelion franchise. Something that's definitive, something that has impact, as Alan said. But then again, I feel like regardless of the ending that whatever 4.0 does put out, I will love it regardless. In a sense.
And Jimmy?
I just want it to be over with. I just want. I mean, not that I hate this. Not that I hate the Rebuild series or anything. The Rebuild series is a very fine. They're a very fine set of movies. 3.0 was like, as much as I may harp on it or anything.
Well, from what I can tell, Jimmy, they seem to be way more in your court than the original was. They seem to be much more to your taste.
Yeah,
Jimmy, are you going to rewatch it? Are you
in terms of how, and just in terms.
Are you
going to
rewatch Rebuilds?
Dude, how many times do you think I've rewatched it? Please, like,
are you going to rewatch it after 4.0's out?
Or maybe we can rebuild the rebuilds and make it a rebuild.
I never want to watch the first one again. I swear.
Well, like the thing about it though is one reason I did kind of dig this movie more than the other two was just because of Shinji's character in general. Like as you guys said already, like it kind of did highlight what it feels like to be useless to people. And I, not trying to say I've ever felt useless to people, but it's kind of relatable from where I've stood.
You're a fucking slag, Jimmy.
Yeah, I was about to say, dude. It's very human. It's I think it's a thing. It's human.
It makes you understand, especially someone who's who's been in a position where the world has kind of been against him. Like it kind of did hit home for me in certain levels. But like enough liking Ava.
It's all about perseverance, man. That's what the whole thing's all about.
Actually, you know what I found something really funny?
What?
Everyone in Waiting for 3.0, they wanted Shinji to man up, and that's exactly what they got in 3.0, and
that's true.
And everyone hates it still.
Be careful for what you wish for is what it means.
That's why I think 3.0 is amazing.
They're a bunch of hypocrites.
And to end off with my final thoughts on what I want from 4.0, it's like the thing that I want that I didn't get in the original was closure. I would like closure this time. I know if you can give me just a little bit of closure, that's all I can ask for. Because I'm actually more hyped.
Dude,
Shut up, Jimmy. I still have hope because Jimmy, shut the fuck up, Jimmy. Shut the fuck up. A man can dream, okay?
A boy has a right to dream.
Every ending is someone's first.
I am actually...
You know who Anno is.
Shut up.
Anno has done closure before.
Anno does done closure before. But...
in other series, not Ava.
This is why it's a
but
rebuild.
I think he's mature enough, per se, to finally end it.
Yeah,
I think he's at this point where he can just say, I can put an end to
I don't know, it depends. Has he ever actually kind of stated what his feelings on the Ava franchise are as a whole? Because, I'm not sure if he I'm not sure if he actually likes how popular
he's
it is.
all over the place with it, depending on how he feels. But that's the same with everyone else.
Yeah, he likes the fact that he made it. He hates how everyone cares about it so much. So he's kind of just he's tsundere towards it.
He could easily just make Ava sequels until the end of time and just live on a boat of money. But if he wants to do that, we'll all watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's up to him.
It'll definitely
then
tarnish.
You'll complain about everyone loving it.
Before we actually do cap off, I have one question. Just one question.
Okay, fuck it.
How likely do you think it would be if we had another Ava series, another Ava television?
I think
series?
maybe we might have a spin-off. We might have a spin-off, not an actual Ava.
At this point, we're not going to have another reboot. We can't possibly have another reboot.
No, it's possible. You know who we're dealing with, but
well, I don't think within the same time frame as from the original to now, it would have to be way, way, way off.
Okay, well, I have the perfect sentence to cap off that question and cap off what I think about 4.0. Expect the unexpected. That's Evangelion.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Shut up, Jimmy.
That's another thing I want the most. To add to my impact and satisfaction, I want to be surprised.
Jimmy, go rewatch the originals. I don't give a shit what you think of it. Just go rewatch the originals.
Jimmy, go watch Kill la Kill.
Oh,
Jimmy,
God. You guys just...
Jimmy, do you like Kill la Kill yet? No. Go rewatch it again.
Kill la Kill, episode
actually...
3, man. Episode 3.
Okay,
so good.
And with all that, we would like to end the episode of J-Taku. And so with me today, I've had Sooin from SICnanigan,
Bye, guys.
and Alain from Bakashift.
So long. Check out my new website, otakukato.com. It's pretty good.
It's pretty decent.
We're just going to put that out.
Jimmy from the JimiJJ, or Ninouh.
Sayonara, minasan. Thanks for watching.
Konnichiwa, minasan.
Konnichiwa, minasan.
Shut the fuck up, Sooin.
Genki desu ka?
Minasan Genki!
And Garland from the Anime Zone.
Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Whatever. Ava 4.0. I'm so hyped. I am so hyped.
I'm Holden from HoldenReviews, and we'll see you guys all next time with much more fan service.
Oh, I see what you did.
Oh
there.
my God.
Thermal expansion. My dick is growing.